A world divided. The Iron Curtain descends. The Second World War ends, bringing relief and joy to millions. The celebrations are grand, with people flooding the streets, embracing the newfound peace. Victory from the jaws of defeat. The Allies have triumphed, and the world breathes a collective sigh of relief. But the shadow of conflict remains. A new struggle emerges. East versus West, communism versus democracy. The Cold War begins. Europe is divided, and the world is once again on edge. An Iron Curtain descends, splitting the continent in two. Families are separated, and a new era of tension begins. On one side, the Soviet Union and its satellite states. They push forward with their ideology, determined to spread communism. On the other, Western Europe and the United States. They stand firm, promoting democracy and freedom and forming alliances like NATO to counter the Soviet threat. Fear and suspicion run deep. Propaganda spreads, and citizens are constantly reminded of the looming threat. The threat of nuclear annihilation hangs heavy in the air. Both sides amass weapons, ready for a conflict that could end the world. The world watches, waits and worries. Every news broadcast could bring word of escalation. The Cold War was a time of great tension and uncertainty. Protests erupted, and espionage became a key tool for both sides. The world held its breath, fearful of the consequences if this conflict were to turn hot. Civil defense drills became routine, and political speeches often carried a tone of caution. It was a time of espionage, of proxy wars fought in far-off lands, and of a constant arms race. The Korean War, among others, became a battleground for these superpowers. The stakes had never been higher. The world stood on the brink, hoping for peace, but preparing for the worst. Germany, the heart of Europe, is also divided. East and West Germany, a physical manifestation of the ideological struggle. Berlin, the former capital, lies deep within Soviet-controlled East Germany. A city, a nation, a people torn apart. In the East, the German Democratic Republic, GDR, a communist state under the control of the Soviet Union. In the West, the Federal Republic of Germany, FRG, a democratic nation aligned with the West. Between them, a stark symbol of division, the Berlin Wall. The Berlin Wall was more than just a concrete barrier. It was a symbol of oppression, of families torn apart, of a nation held hostage by ideology. It stood as a constant reminder of the stark realities of the Cold War. August 13th, 1961, the dead of night. The city of Berlin wakes to the sound of hammers, shovels, and the clatter of concrete. The GDR begins construction of the Berlin Wall. A barrier of barbed wire, concrete and guard towers, a physical manifestation of the Iron Curtain. Families are divided, homes are cut off. The wall snakes through the heart of Berlin, dividing neighborhoods, streets, even cemeteries. For East Berliners, escape to the West becomes nearly impossible. The wall stands as a symbol of oppression, a scar on the face of Europe. The Berlin Wall becomes a powerful propaganda tool for both sides. The East claims it is an anti-fascist protection wall, built to protect its citizens from Western influence. The West condemns it as a symbol of communist oppression, a prison wall keeping East Germans captive. Section 4, cracks in the facade, the winds of change, the 1980s. The Cold War begins to thaw. In the Soviet Union, Mikhail Gorbachev implements reforms, glasnost and perestroika, openness and restructuring. A glimmer of hope emerges, but in East Germany the hardliners cling to power. The Berlin Wall remains. Across Eastern Europe the winds of change are blowing. Protests erupt in Poland, Hungary and Czechoslovakia. People demand freedom, democracy and an end to Soviet domination. The pressure mounts on the East German government. The cracks in the Iron Curtain widen. In 1989, Hungary opens its border with Austria. Thousands of East Germans flee, seeking refuge in the West. The exodus accelerates. The East German government is in crisis. The Berlin Wall, once a symbol of communist power, is now a liability. Section 5, Schabowski's Blunder, A Moment of Misunderstanding. Günter Schabowski, the East German Politburo spokesman, is tasked with announcing new travel regulations. The atmosphere is tense, and the world is watching closely. He is handed a note, but it is unclear. He misinterprets the information, leading to a critical misunderstanding. During a live press conference, he makes a fateful announcement that would change the course of history. East Germans, he says, will be allowed to cross the border immediately without delay. The news spreads like wildfire. The world watches in astonishment, trying to grasp the magnitude of this announcement. Is this a mistake, a misunderstanding, or is it a sign of a major policy shift? The room buzzes with speculation. Journalists bombard Schabowski with questions, seeking clarity on this unexpected news. He stumbles, hesitates, but ultimately confirms the news, adding to the confusion and excitement. The gates, it seems, are open. A new era is dawning. Confusion reigns in East Berlin as people try to understand the implications of this announcement. People gather around televisions and radios trying to make sense of the news. The air is thick with anticipation. Is this a trick, a trap, or is it for real? Doubts and hopes intermingle. The desire for freedom outweighs the fear. The people are ready to take a chance. East Berliners begin to gather at the wall, demanding to cross. The moment of truth has arrived. Section 6, To the Wall, a night of euphoria and disbelief. The pressure builds on the border guards. They are outnumbered, unprepared, and lack clear instructions. The crowds swell. Chants of "Wir sind das Volk," "We are the people," fill the air. Finally, the gates are opened. East Berliners stream through the wall, met by cheering crowds from the west, tears of joy, hugs and disbelief. A night of spontaneous celebration erupts. Strangers embrace, champagne flows, and the wall itself becomes a canvas for freedom. The world watches in awe as the Berlin Wall, once a symbol of division and oppression, becomes a stage for unity and joy. The fall of the Berlin Wall marks a turning point in history, a victory for freedom over tyranny. Section 7, A World Transformed, the Legacy of the Wall's Fall. The fall of the Berlin Wall has a profound impact on the world. It was not just a physical barrier that was dismantled, but a symbol of oppression and division that was brought down. It hastens the collapse of the Soviet Union and the end of the Cold War. The geopolitical landscape was forever altered, leading to a new era of international relations. It inspires movements for freedom and democracy across the globe. From Eastern Europe to other parts of the world, people were emboldened to fight for their rights and liberties. The world celebrates the triumph of hope over fear, of unity over division. The fall of the wall became a beacon of hope for many who lived under oppressive regimes. The Berlin Wall stands as a reminder of the human cost of division and the power of hope and resilience. Its remnants serve as a testament to the enduring spirit of those who fought for freedom. It teaches us that even the most seemingly insurmountable barriers can crumble when confronted with the unyielding spirit of freedom. The wall's fall is a powerful lesson in the strength of collective will. The legacy of the Berlin Wall lives on not in bricks and mortar, but in the hearts and minds of those who witnessed its rise and fall. Their stories continue to inspire future generations. It is a story of courage, of resilience, and ultimately of the triumph of the human spirit. The fall of the Berlin Wall remains a defining moment in history, reminding us of the power of unity and the enduring quest for freedom.